Welcome back. You're still with Perspective, and we're talking to Professor Shang from the ADB, particularly on Asia's development. What are actually the key trends that help shape the outlook that you prepared in Asia? Is there I don't know, is there something that is definitely changing?
There are quite a few forces that are underpinning the current projection, which I summarize as 3 R's. Number one is stronger reforms, reforms in many of the member countries, including Indonesia, but also includes India and so on. And number two is stronger recovery of many of the high-income countries, which are markets for developing Asia, including very strong growth in US, improved growth in Japan and Europe.
Is it recovering a bit?
Recovering a bit, doing better than what they used to do in the last 2 years. And number three is reduction in global commodity prices, especially oil price. Yes, so these are the 3 R's. These pro-growth forces are somewhat tempered by the moderation of growth in People's Republic of China.
You're talking about oil prices, for example, and that it may benefit the inclusive growth in Asia. How?
The oil prices, we first have to recognize that oil is an input into the production of virtually everything. So lower oil prices leads to lower production cost, potentially make all products and services more affordable to people. And it's especially important for low-income families. And secondly, of course, to the extent oil prices lead to lower prices, it also helps households to see increase the real income. Even if the nominal monetary income is the same, real income will be higher. The third, as important, many countries in the previous period had relatively costly fuel subsidy programs. So Indonesia is one of those countries. Because those programs the programs were meant to help poor people, but they didn't quite reach the target there well. Most, it's not very well targeted, but super costly. In the case of Indonesia, it's a few percentage points of GDP, a big chunk of a budget. So I remember last time I was here, one thing we could see was that subsidy item itself removal of that could turn budget from deficit to surplus. Now, I think it's very encouraging to see Indonesia government has chosen to reform that part and use the saving in the budget to invest in infrastructure, invest in education, and so on. So therefore, the oil and this reform is greatly helped by lower commodity prices because you don't feel as much pain. You don't see a huge increase in the prices at the pump because of a reduction in oil prices.
Talk about growth in Asia. What is the main impediment, the obstacle that is common to all countries, for example? I'm not talking external, I'm talking inside their own country.
I think the number one potential impediment is many of the important and needed reforms are not taking place as fast as one can.
You're dealing with bureaucracies.
Bureaucracy, that's the thing. One is bureaucracy, the other is interest groups. Inefficient, perhaps not as wisest kind of policy in the world. They may not be the wisest for the society as a whole. Some groups, some companies, some individuals may benefit, and they don't want to see their policy changed. So for those reasons, reform or changing policy, even if it's good for the country as a whole, is almost never automatic, almost never smooth.
And what are the other, not the obstacle, but the risk?
There are risks both at home and abroad. So if you look at the external potential risk, one is that if some of the high-income countries may not continue to recover as strongly as we are seeing now. Europe seems to be doing better than last year. At the same time, the latest news says Greek debt problem doesn't have a certain solution yet, and the Greek debt blow-up could affect confidence in Eurozone. In turn, could affect European Union's imports from developing Asia. European Union is often either the number one or number two export markets for many countries in the region. Japan, same thing. So we now think we are predicting Japan to do better than last year. But something down the road, something could happen that goes in, make things to go in the opposite direction. Even oil prices, right now, financial market is thinking that the oil prices will stay low for the next 2 years. What if there's a rebound? What if the rebound is stronger than people are currently seeing? Our country is prepared for that. So these are this could also be a risk.
Right. Okay, let's break again. Please stay with us. We'll be back.